Do you find it hard to say no, even when your plate is already overflowing? Does the fear of disappointing others keep you trapped in a cycle of overcommitment and burnout? In today's video, we are going to solve this problem. I am going to share with you my best strategies for setting boundaries without guilt so that you can regain control and prioritize what truly matters. It's time to break free from the yes trap and start living life on your own terms. Now, if you've watched me here on YouTube before, then welcome back. But if you are new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Dr. Kim Foster and I'm an MD turned coach and wellness expert. So let's get started. Now, the best place to start is with my first tip, understanding the importance of saying no. Why is it so crucial to be able to say no? Well, saying no is essential for maintaining your mental health, your productivity, and your overall well-being. When you say yes to everything, you're going to be totally overcommitting yourself, and that is going to lead directly to stress, burnout, and a whole lot of resentment. Think about it. Every time that you say yes to something that you don't want to do or don't have the capacity for, you're saying no to the things that you do want to do. You're taking time and energy away from the things that truly matter to you. This used to be such a problem for me. When I was a lot younger, I found it incredibly hard to say no. I wanted to please everyone and be seen as reliable and helpful. But over time, I realized that constantly saying yes was taking a toll on me. I was stretched way too thin and my mental and physical health was suffering. I became really resentful of the commitments that I had made, which wasn't fair to me or the people that I had committed to. Learning to say no changed everything. I began to set boundaries and prioritize my well-being. This not only improved my health, but also allowed me to give my best to the commitments that I chose to keep. I became much more present and more productive and much happier. So understand this, saying no is not about being selfish or unkind. It's about respecting your own limits and ensuring that you have the capacity to show up fully for the things and the people that matter the most to you. Now let's move on to the second tip, which is learning the common reasons why it is just so hard for us to say no. Understanding the root of this difficulty is really crucial to overcoming it. First, there's the fear of disappointing others. A lot of us worry that saying no will let people down and damage relationships or cause people to think less of us. This fear often stems from a desire to be liked and accepted, of course. We equate saying yes with being a good friend or partner or colleague, even when it's at our own expense. Then there's the desire to please. People-pleasing can become a deeply ingrained habit. From a young age, many of us are taught to put others' needs before our own, to be agreeable and accommodating. I have to say, especially women. And while being kind and helpful is wonderful, consistently putting others first without considering our own needs is not going to end well. Another common reason is guilt and obligation. Many of us feel really guilty for saying no, as if we're avoiding responsibility or being selfish. We may feel obligated to say yes due to social or cultural expectations, and this is tricky stuff to disentangle from. So you might have a friend who always asks for your help, and even though you are swamped with your own tasks, you feel guilty turning them down because you value the friendship and you don't want to seem unkind. This guilt can be paralyzing and makes it incredibly difficult to assert your own needs. Self-reflection is key here. I want you to take a moment to think about the last few times that you said yes when you really wanted to say no. What were the underlying reasons? Were you afraid of conflict or hurting somebody's feelings? Did you feel pressured by social norms or your own desire to be seen in a positive light? By unpacking these reasons, you can begin to address them directly. And don't make yourself wrong when you begin to unpack and understand why you have had such a hard time saying no. It's okay to acknowledge that your feelings of guilt or fear are valid, but also recognize that it's time for them to stop controlling your decisions. It's time for you to prioritize your well-being and set boundaries. Remember, saying no doesn't mean that you don't care about other people. It means that you care about yourself too. And when you take care of yourself, you're in a much better position to support and help others in a meaningful way. I remember when I was a kid, this was something that my mom struggled with. She was always getting asked to do stuff in the community, for her neighbors, or for the schools that her 3 daughters went to. So many volunteer things. And I know that she felt compelled to be helpful and please others. But I also remember that one day she wrote out on a piece of paper the words, "Say no in marker in all caps and taped it to the phone in our house in the kitchen. You know, those old rotary phones on the wall? I can just completely picture it right now. That note stayed up there on our phone for months and months. And I remember asking her about it because it seemed so weird. But thinking back on it now, I know that this was really smart because, of course, she would get all these phone calls of people asking her to help out in various ways. And this was her way of reminding herself to stay strong, to remember her priorities, and to protect her boundaries. In the next section, we're going to dive into some practical strategies for assessing your priorities and also for making decisions that align with your values and well-being. But first, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what makes it hard for you to say no and how understanding these reasons can be the first step towards change. Hey, okay, so quick break from my usual content because I have something really exciting to share. I'm launching a brand new YouTube channel together with my husband, and this one is all about taking you behind the scenes of our life. From how I stay healthy, our daily routines, and keeping everything running smoothly-ish, even when things get hectic with our family of 4, including our 2 teenage boys. On my regular channel right here, I talk a lot about wellness and personal development, and I share my tips for helping you to live your best life. But on this new vlog channel, my husband and I are going to show you exactly how we try our best to fit it all in. You're gonna get a peek into our daily routines and how we try to balance everything, and also our travels overseas as we work towards creating our own dream life, including location independence and a completely bi-continental lifestyle, which is our ultimate goal. So if you are curious about any of that, then we would love to have you along on the journey. The first video drops very soon, and I cannot wait to share it all with you. Okay, now let's move on to the third tip, which is about assessing your priorities. This is a crucial step in learning how to say no effectively because it helps you to determine what truly matters to you and what you can realistically commit to. First, identify what is most important in your life. This could be your family, your career, health, personal growth, or hobbies. Make a list of your top priorities and just keep it somewhere visible. This will serve as a constant reminder of what you value the most and help you to make decisions that align with these values. Next, evaluate your current commitments. Take a close look at everything that you have said yes to. Are these commitments aligned with your top priorities? Are they bringing you joy and fulfillment, or are they causing stress and burnout? Be honest with yourself. Another important aspect is to understand your limits. Know how much you can realistically handle without compromising your well-being. It's okay to have limits. They help you to stay healthy and productive. When you're clear about your limits, you can make decisions that protect your energy and your time. Remember, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Make sure that your yeses are reserved for the things that truly matter to you. By doing this, you will find that saying no becomes much easier because you're making choices that honor your priorities and your well-being. I also want to mention that one of the most important priorities that you could make for yourself is to practice self-care. And if you want some help with designing some really supportive self-care rituals and habits, then I invite you to download my free self-care checklist, which will give you just a great way of organizing this and bringing real self-care into your life. To get it, all you need to do is just click the link in the description box below and I will send it right to your inbox. Now let's move on to the fourth tip in learning how to say no, which is using assertive communication. Learning how to say no confidently and respectfully is a crucial skill that can help you to set boundaries without damaging your relationships. First, let's talk about the importance of being clear and direct. When you say no, be straightforward about it. Avoid being vague or making excuses. Clarity not only respects your own boundaries, but also respects the person that you are communicating with. For example, instead of saying, "I don't think I can," say, "I won't be able to." Using I statements can help you to make your communication more assertive. For example, instead of saying, "You always ask me to do extra work," try saying, "I feel overwhelmed when I have to take on additional tasks." This approach focuses on your feelings and your needs rather than placing blame, which makes it much more likely that the other person is going to understand and respect your boundary. Another effective technique is to keep your response simple. You don't owe anyone a long explanation for why you're saying no. A brief and honest reason is enough. For example, I can't take on this project now because I'm focusing on other priorities. That's a clear and respectful way to communicate your decision. Practice saying no in a firm yet polite manner. It's important to convey your decision with confidence. Use a calm voice and a steady tone of voice. Nonverbal cues will also help a lot here, so make sure that you maintain eye contact and have a nice relaxed posture. Of course, this is all going to take some practice, but you will get better and better at this as you go. To help you though, here are a few more scripted responses that you can use in different scenarios. If someone asks you to help with a project that you don't have time for, you can say, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I have too much on my plate right now to take this on." If a friend invites you to an event that you just don't want to attend, you can say, "Thank you for the invite, but I have other plans that day." If you're asked to volunteer for something that you're just not interested in, you can say, "I'm focusing on other commitments and won't be able to help this time." Practicing these responses in low-stakes situations can help to build your confidence. Remember, it's not about being rude or dismissive. It's about standing up for your own needs and limits. By being clear and respectful, you are much more likely to be understood and respected in return. Now let's move on to the fifth and final tip, which is offering alternatives and solutions. Sometimes saying no can be softened by suggesting a different way to help or offering a compromise. This approach shows that you still care about the person or the situation, even if you can't fulfill the initial request. One effective strategy is to suggest another time or method that may work better for you. For example, if a colleague asks for your help on a project but you are totally swamped, you might say, "I can't help with this project right now, but I would be happy to assist you next week when I have more availability." This way, you're still offering support just within your own limits. Another approach is to recommend somebody else who might be able to help. If you genuinely can't take on a task, it can be very helpful to point the person towards somebody else. You could say something like, "I can't take this on right now, but have you asked so-and-so? They might have the bandwidth to help." You can also offer a partial solution. Maybe you can't commit to the whole project, but you can help with a specific part. For example, saying something like, "I can't lead the entire event, but I'd be happy to help with the planning phase." Sometimes offering resources or advice can be just as valuable as hands-on help. If someone is looking for guidance, you might provide useful materials or point them in the direction of helpful information. For example, you could say, "I can't join the committee, but I've read some great articles on effective team management that I can share with you." It's also helpful to frame your no positively. Express your gratitude for being considered and your regret for not being able to help this time. For example, "Thank you so much for thinking of me for this role. I'm honored, but I have to decline because I'm focusing on my current projects. I wish you all the best with it." By offering alternatives and solutions, you show that you're considerate and supportive even when you can't say yes. This approach helps to maintain good relationships and leaves the door open for future opportunities where you might be able to help. Remember, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to do it in a way that aligns with your values and maintains your relationships. The key is to be honest, respectful, and thoughtful about your response. So there you have it, 5 tips to help you say no with confidence and grace. As always, I would love to hear from you. Do you have a hard time saying no? What do you think are the reasons? Are you a people pleaser? Do you struggle with a lot of guilt? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to download my free self-care checklist to help you to design and practice your own truly supportive self-care rituals and habits that you are going to have time for now that you know how to say no and protect your boundaries. Again, the link for that checklist is in the description box. If you like this video, I think you are going to love the video that I uploaded recently about how to let go of what no longer serves you. I'm going to link it right above my head here, and I will see you there. Actually, I'm gonna redo that because I think that the ice machine just made a bunch of sound. Nonverbal cues were also, why do I struggle over cues? Cues, not clues, cues, which is offering alternatives and solutions. Okay, fridge is making more sound again. It's amazing how much sound a fridge makes.